Have you ever had one of those mornings where you wake up, stumble into the kitchen half asleep, you open the fridge, and you realize you are just completely out of milk?
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just the absolute worst way to start the day. I mean, your coffee is ruined, the routine is broken, and now you have to figure out how to squeeze a grocery run into a busy morning.
Right. It completely throws off everything.
Yeah. But, what if you never had to think about that chore ever again? Like, what if your essential groceries just magically appeared on your doorstep before you even woke up?
Exactly when you needed them.
Exactly. And without you ever, clicking a checkout button.
See, it sounds like science fiction or maybe, I don't know, a hyper premium luxury service for the ultra wealthy or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But the reality is actually far more interesting. It's this highly tuned, highly profitable, and honestly very accessible business model that just operates invisibly while most of the city is asleep.
Which brings us to today's deep dive. So welcome in. Our mission today is to deconstruct a comprehensive blueprint we have for building something called a Milkbasket clone app.
Right, and it's a fascinating blueprint.
It really is. We are going to tear apart this hyper-local delivery model to understand, the exact technology, the brutal logistics, and the specific economics that make it work.
We're basically going to explore how a business can literally be cloned to disrupt the entire dairy and grocery industry.
Yeah. And for some context for you listening, Milkbasket isn't just like a theoretical white paper.
No, not at all.
It was a real Indian startup founded back in 2015, and they were so incredibly successful at solving this exact morning friction that Reliance Retail actually acquired them in 2021.
Yeah, for a reported $40 to $43 million.
Which is huge.
It's massive. And now, entrepreneurs all over the world are looking at that underlying architecture to try and replicate that success in their own markets.
Right. And to me, this whole concept, it kind of feels like taking the nostalgic 1950s neighborhood milkman.
Oh, yeah, the guy in the crisp white uniform.
Exactly, leaving glass bottles on the front porch. It's like taking that guy and supercharging him with artificial intelligence, a decentralized network of micro warehouses, and a digital prepaid wallet.
That's a great way to put it. It's old school routine meets just cutting edge logistics.
Totally.
And that combination of routine and tech, it's really the perfect lens for this.
Yeah.
Because to truly understand why someone would want to read a blueprint on how to clone this infrastructure, we first have to recognize how radically different it is from the standard delivery apps you are probably used to.
Right, like Uber Eats or whatever.
Exactly. This
Yeah.
entire system is fundamentally designed to do the exact opposite of what traditional e-commerce does.
Okay, let's unpack that. Because if you're listening to this, you've probably used an on-demand app like DoorDash or, a traditional grocery delivery service like Instacart.
Great, everyone has.
You realize you want a pizza, you open your phone, you order the pizza, and it arrives in 45 minutes.
You are trading money for immediate gratification.
Exactly. But this blueprint describes what is essentially the anti-on-demand model.
Yeah, the anti-on-demand model. The standard delivery model is built entirely on one-time, immediate, and usually bulk purchases. Like I buy a week's worth of groceries or a massive dinner.
Right.
The hyperlocal daily delivery model, it just throws that entire playbook in the trash. It operates on a few very rigid rules.
And what are those rules?
So first, it relies on recurring daily or weekly orders instead of one-off impulse buys.
Okay.
Second, deliveries happen strictly before 7 a.m., rather than scattered randomly throughout the day.
So no midday drops.
Right, strictly mornings.
Yeah.
And third, and this is perhaps the most crucial element for the user psychology, honestly, there is no manual checkout process for each order.
See, that frictionless experience is the part that just blows my mind.
It's so smart.
It is. The architecture for this model heavily relies on a prepaid wallet system. So you, as the user, you top up your digital wallet with some funds once a month. And then you set your recurring order. So maybe it's a carton of milk every Tuesday and Thursday and, a loaf of bread on Friday.
Exactly.
Once that's set, the app just auto-deducts the money based on what actually gets delivered to your door. You don't have to pull out a credit card. You don't have to click a buy now button.
You don't even have to open the app most days.
Right.
I mean, think about the psychology of a checkout cart for a second. Every single time you ask a customer to confirm a payment on a website, you are introducing friction.
Oh, absolutely.
You're giving them a moment to reconsider, to look at the total price, to feel a pinch in their wallet, or, just to get distracted by a text message and abandon the cart entirely.
Yeah, cart abandonment is a huge issue for retailers.
Huge. So by moving to an auto-deducting prepaid wallet, the purchase becomes an invisible automatic part of your daily routine. It's kind of like an electronic toll tag for your car.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right. You don't think about paying the toll, you just drive through.
Okay, but wait. Stop right there. I need to push back on the economics of this a bit.
Okay, go for it.
Because I was reading through the blueprint, and it highlighted two very specific, very dangerous, unique features. It said 0 delivery fee and no minimum order value.
Ah, yes.
Free delivery on a $2 carton of milk. Like, Uber charges me $6 just in fees to deliver a $15 burrito.
I know, it sounds impossible.
The math on this literally does not work. If I order 1 carton of milk and a driver has to bring it to my house at 6 a.m., how are they not just bleeding money on gas and labor?
It's the most logical question to ask.
How does a company offer that and not immediately go bankrupt?
Right, and it's the exact hurdle that destroys traditional delivery companies when they try to offer small item delivery. But the answer lies in two logistical concepts: micro-delivery and hyperlocal fulfillment.
Okay, break that down for me.
So the secret sauce of this business model isn't about making a huge profit margin on a single carton of milk. It is entirely about extreme customer density and ruthless route optimization.
Let's do the math on that density. If I'm a standard delivery driver, I'm driving across town to deliver 1 pizza to 1 house.
Right.
So the delivery fee has to be high to cover my 20 minutes of driving and the fuel I burned. Are you saying they just, eliminate the crosstown driving entirely?
That is the core of it, yeah. In this micro-delivery model, the goal is to get 20, 30, or even 40 households in the exact same neighborhood, or better yet, the exact same high-rise apartment complex, subscribe to the service.
Wow, okay.
When the customer density reaches that critical mass, the economics just flip. The delivery rider isn't driving across town for 1 order. They are parking their van once, walking down a single apartment hallway, and dropping a carton of milk at door number 1, door number 3, door number 4, and door number 8.
I see. So if the rider can drop off 30 orders in 15 minutes while walking down a single street, the cost per delivery drops to, what, fractions of a penny?
Exactly. The gas is negligible. The time spent per order is seconds.
They are practically delivering to a single geographic point.
Right. Profitability is entirely dependent on driving down that cost per delivery metric through density. But they also don't just rely on the razor-thin margins of milk.
Right, because milk is famously low margin.
Exactly. So once they have you hooked on the routine and that prepaid wallet is loaded, they generate serious revenue through cross-selling.
The classic, would you like fries with that?
Yes, exactly.
But adapted for your breakfast table. So you need your daily milk, but the app casually suggests adding, I don't know, a loaf of freshly baked bread, some farm eggs, and maybe some fresh vegetables to that automatic morning drop-off.
Right. And because there is no delivery fee and no minimum order, the psychological barrier to adding just 1 small item is 0.
Wow. Yeah, you don't feel guilty adding a $3 bundle of spinach to your order because you aren't paying a $5 fee to get it.
Precisely. And over time, that slowly and predictably increases the average order value and massively boosts the customer lifetime value.
Which brings us to the rider experience, which I found to be one of the most brilliant parts of the whole system in the blueprint.
Oh, it's so different from standard delivery gigs.
It really is. If we look at a standard delivery driver's night, it is pure chaos.
Yeah.
They get a ping, they drive to a restaurant, wait in the lobby for the food, drive to the customer, drop it off, and then get pinged again to go to a completely different grocery store across town.
Wait in line there, drive to a new customer.
Yeah, it's incredibly inefficient. But this architecture uses something called pre-sorted route fulfillment.
Yeah, the chaos of the gig economy is completely eliminated here. To make this hyper-dense delivery work, the logistics have to be perfectly choreographed while the city sleeps.
You know what it reminds me of? A Formula One pit stop, but applied to groceries.
Okay, I like that.
In a pit stop, nobody is looking around for the tires, right? Everything is exactly where it needs to be the second the car arrives.
Right.
The documentation explains that orders are consolidated overnight at these tiny micro warehouses scattered around the city.
Yes, the micro warehouses are key.
So the delivery rider doesn't go shopping. They don't bounce between vendors. They just show up to their assigned micro warehouse at 4 a.m., and there is a pre-assigned, pre-sorted physical crate waiting just for them.
Packed perfectly for their specific delivery zone.
Exactly. They grab the crate, follow a GPS-optimized route generated by the app, and just drop things off in a straight line. No repeated pickups, no waiting in lines, just pure, uninterrupted dropping.
It's incredibly efficient. But to make those perfectly pre-sorted crates possible, these companies had to invent a completely different way of buying inventory in the first place.
Right.
It's called smart procurement planning, and it is entirely dependent on a very specific, inflexible rule in the app.
The daily order cutoff.
Yes, the daily order cutoff.
The famous 10 p.m. to midnight cutoff window.
Exactly. So customers can add, remove, or change their orders for the next morning up until that cutoff time.
And the app often features a visible countdown timer, right? Creating a kind of subtle sense of urgency.
Yeah, it gamifies it a bit. And the moment the clock strikes 10 p.m., the system hard locks all orders. It then instantly calculates the exact total demand for the next day for every single delivery area.
Let's just sit with the economic impact of that for a second because it is huge.
It's massive.
Imagine you are running a traditional supermarket. You are always playing a guessing game.
Right. Hoping people buy what you stock.
Yeah. You look at historical data and say, well, we usually sell 50 gallons of milk on a Wednesday in November, so let's order 55 just in case.
And if you're wrong, and only 40 people buy milk, 15 gallons spoil and you lose money.
Exactly. Or if 60 people want milk, you sell out, anger your customers, and leave money on the table. But with a 10 p.m. lock, there is zero guesswork.
Yeah.
The system tells the central supplier, we have exactly 4,312 active orders for whole milk tomorrow morning, and the supplier prepares exactly that amount.
Right. And it completely eliminates a major supply chain nightmare known as the bullwhip effect.
Oh, what's that?
So in a normal supply chain, a slight change in consumer demand at the retail level causes massive panic and over-ordering at the wholesale and manufacturing levels.
Oh, I see. So it just multiplies up the chain.
Exactly, leading to incredible waste.
Yeah.
But the 10 p.m. cutoff acts like an iron dam, stopping that effect entirely.
That's fascinating.
But you have to remember, managing milk means managing a highly perishable product.
Oh, true.
So the ticking clock isn't just about the 10 p.m. order deadline. It's about the literal shelf life of the inventory itself.
Which brings us to the software and the AI running behind the scenes, because this is not just a standard Shopify store slapped onto a phone screen.
Not at all.
To deal with perishables that go bad in days, the back end requires this vital piece of architecture. It's called batch-level expiry and wastage tracking.
Right. Think about a traditional grocery store shelf, right? A worker stocks 10 cartons of milk. Some arrived on Monday, some arrived on Wednesday. A savvy customer reaches all the way to the back to grab the freshest carton, leaving the older ones at the front to eventually expire and be thrown away.
Guilty as charged. I definitely do that.
We all do.
Yeah.
But a standard inventory system just knows it has 10 cartons, right? It doesn't know which one the customer actually took.
Ah, right.
But a milk delivery platform operates in a closed system, so it has to record unsold, expired, or returned stock by specific batches. By tracking barcodes at the batch level, the software dictates exactly which carton from which batch is loaded into which rider's crate.
Oh, wow. So it forces a perfect first in, first out rotation.
Exactly, minimizing waste to nearly zero.
But it has to manage the volatility of humans too, right? Not just the milk. Like, I thought the flexible subscription management feature was incredibly smart from a retention standpoint.
Oh yeah, it's essential.
The blueprint notes that you can pause or skip deliveries on specific days without actually canceling your underlying subscription.
Okay.
So, like, if you were going out of town for a long weekend, you'd tap pause on Thursday and Friday.
Because churn, the rate at which you lose subscribers is the absolute enemy of a subscription business.
Right.
If a customer has to go through the hassle of fully canceling their subscription just because they're going on a 2-week vacation.
There is a very high probability they simply won't bother to set it all up again when they get back.
Exactly. The friction of starting over is too high. So by letting them pause, you keep the subscription technically active, you preserve the customer data, and you just accommodate the messy reality of human schedules.
And the brain managing all of this complexity, artificial intelligence.
Yep, AI is everywhere in this.
The documentation outlines several specific AI applications that just blow traditional retail out of the water. Take demand forecasting, for example.
Right.
The AI doesn't just wait passively for the 10 p.m. cutoff. It actively analyzes past orders, local weather patterns, upcoming public holidays, and seasonal trends to predict stock needs days in advance.
Which is crucial because even though the exact orders lock at 10 p.m., the dairy farms and suppliers still need some lead time to physically get the product to the micro warehouses.
Yeah, they can't just materialize it out of thin air.
Right. So if the AI knows a major winter storm is predicted for Thursday, it knows people will likely panic, add extra bread and milk to their Wednesday night orders.
So it adjusts the inventory suggestions for each specific micro warehouse days in advance.
Exactly. To ensure they don't run out when the surge hits.
That is so smart. It even does smart subscription management. Like, the AI analyzes user behavior. Say, if you've paused your subscription 3 times this month, or you stopped adding cross-sell items to identify customers who are a high flight risk.
It sees a cancellation coming before you even think of it.
Right, and then it proactively sends them personalized retention offers, like, I don't know, a free bakery item, before they even click cancel. It's literally like having a team of customer retention specialists working in the background 24/7.
It is. But, I mean, if the system is so relentlessly automated, with orders locking automatically, routing generated by algorithms, and AI predicting demand, what happens when a customer has a real-world problem at the worst possible time?
Oh, that's a great point. Like, what if my milk is missing from my doorstep, or I get the wrong type of bread and it's 6 and 5:10 a.m.?
Right. The warehouse is empty, the driver is gone, and there are absolutely no human customer service reps awake in the main corporate office to take your phone call.
So how does that get solved?
That is exactly where AI-powered automated customer support becomes mandatory, not just a nice-to-have. The architecture requires chatbots that can handle common queries, delivery disputes, and subscription changes around the clock.
Wow. Okay.
Because the core delivery window is entirely before sunrise, the support infrastructure has to function flawlessly, while human operators are literally asleep in their beds.
Right, because if I report a missing item at 6 a.m., I don't want to wait until 9 a.m. for a response.
Exactly. So the AI needs to instantly verify the route data, process a micro refund directly back to the prepaid wallet, and offer an apology, all without a human ever touching a keyboard.
Okay, so if extreme customer density, 10 p.m. cutoffs, and AI logistics are the secret to this massive profitability, why isn't every local grocery store building their own app?
Well, it comes down to the sheer complexity of the tech stack required to pull it off.
Right. Let's look at the actual blueprint and the price tag for a minute. Because if you are listening to this and thinking, I want to dominate my city's morning delivery market tomorrow, what does it actually take?
The modern technology stack required to build this from the ground up is a heavy lift. It really is. It's an entire ecosystem of different technologies talking to each other perfectly.
Yeah, I was looking at the recommended list of developer tools in the source. They suggest using React Native or Flutter for building the front-end user app.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because you write one single code base, and it works natively on both iPhones and Androids, saving you from hiring 2 separate development teams.
Exactly.
Then you need Node.js for the backend to handle all the complex server logic, MongoDB for the database, because it's flexible enough to store messy user preferences and shifting product catalogs.
And AWS to host the entire infrastructure in the cloud.
Right.
But you cannot overlook tools like Docker and Kubernetes for DevOps.
Okay. Why are those specifically so critical here?
Because of the 10 p.m. cutoff.
Oh, right.
Think about it. Imagine you own a massive sports stadium, and the game ends at exactly 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Every single fan tries to leave through one single exit door at the exact same millisecond.
That will be a disaster.
It's a stampede. And that's what happens to the app servers when thousands of customers log in at 9:55 p.m. to adjust their morning milk orders.
Oh, I see. A normal server would just instantly crash under that spike in traffic.
Yes. So Kubernetes acts like a dynamic stadium manager. At 9:50 p.m., it instantly and automatically opens 100 new virtual doors, spinning up new servers, to handle the massive rush of traffic.
Yep.
And then at 10:10 p.m., when everyone goes to sleep, it closes those doors and shuts down the servers so you aren't paying for computing power you don't need.
That is brilliant. It scales up for the 20-minute panic window and scales down to save money the rest of the day.
Exactly.
But that level of engineering definitely doesn't come cheap. The blueprint estimates the total cost to custom build this entire platform ranges between $16,500 and $73,000.
Yeah. And that range depends heavily on whether you are hiring a development team in North America versus, say, outsourcing to Eastern Europe or South Asia.
Right.
And also just how complex you want that AI to be on day one. To ground those numbers, they estimate front-end development alone will run $5,000 to $20,000.
Okay.
UI and UX design making the app actually look good and easy to use is another $2,000 to $10,000. And crucially, they budget $2,000 to $10,000 for marketing.
Which is a stark reminder that writing the code is only half the battle, right? Like, if nobody in the apartment complex downloads your app, you don't get that customer density, and the whole economic model collapses.
Right, density is everything.
But looking at that $70,000 price tag brings up the massive build versus buy dilemma,
Mhm.
because the documentation explicitly mentions a white label software solution called Enatega, where you just buy a pre-built version of the app.
Yeah, it is the most critical strategic choice an entrepreneur has to make in this space. Do you hire a custom dev team, spend 6 to 9 months building proprietary software, and pay that 70 grand?
Sure.
Or do you buy a white label product that already has the prepaid wallet, the route optimization, and the subscription management fully built and ready to launch in a week?
See, the way I think about white labeling software is comparing it to the restaurant industry.
Oh, how so?
Well, it's the difference between opening a fast food franchise versus starting your own independent restaurant.
Okay, I track.
If you buy the white label solution, you are buying a franchise. You unlock the doors on day one, the registers are programmed, the fryers work perfectly, and you start making money immediately.
Right.
But a year later, if you decide you want to start selling tacos instead of burgers, the corporate office says, no, you are limited by their system.
Exactly.
But if you build a custom independent restaurant, it takes a year to design the menu, buy the stoves, and perfect the recipes, but you own everything and can pivot whenever you want. And the blueprint gives a massive warning about this.
It does.
It says if you go the white label route, you must ensure you get full source code ownership.
Yes, because without source code ownership, you suffer from vendor lock-in. You don't own the underlying architecture of your own business.
Right.
If you grow and need a custom feature, you can't build it yourself. You are entirely at the mercy of that third-party provider for every single update, bug fix, or server expansion. It's a massive risk.
So who is actually navigating these risks and running these clone models out in the wild today? Like, is it just scrappy tech startups?
The landscape is shockingly diverse, actually. Yes, you have tech-first startups like Daily Ninja, which proved the model so well they got acquired by grocery giant Milkbasket.
Right.
But you also have massive legacy dairy farms like Amul in India finally adopting this tech to modernize their ancient supply chains.
Oh, wow.
You have direct-to-consumer brands like Country Delight using it for farm-to-home fresh deliveries. And then you have heavily funded hyperlocal startups like Super Daily, backed by food delivery, massive Swiggy.
Just using this exact app-based micro-delivery model to dominate the morning essentials market.
Exactly. It's changing the way the entire supply chain thinks about the last mile.
It really is. So let's bring all this home and summarize the brilliance of what we've unpacked today.
Let's do it.
This Milkbasket clone architecture proves something deeply counterintuitive about modern consumerism. In a world that is utterly obsessed with instant, on-demand gratification, where we are constantly conditioned to want a hot meal delivered in 20 minutes, there is massive, sustainable, long-term profitability in moving in the exact opposite direction. So true.
There is a gold mine in hyper-predictable, rigidly scheduled micro-deliveries, quietly enabled by predictive AI, dense routing, and the psychological invisibility of a prepaid wallet.
It completely shifts the consumer paradigm from the panic of, oh man, I need this right now, to the profound peace of, I never have to think about needing this ever again.
Exactly.
By focusing relentlessly on human routine rather than impulse, and utilizing micro warehouses to achieve that critical neighborhood density, a business can just defy traditional e-commerce logic. They can offer zero-fee deliveries on tiny $2 orders, entirely eliminate checkout friction, and still build a highly profitable empire.
And that leaves me with one final kind of provocative thought for you to chew on after you finish listening to this deep dive.
Oh, what is it?
If a highly specialized hyperlocal app can predict our daily milk, bread, and egg needs so perfectly using AI and a strict 10 p.m. cutoff, what other mundane, repetitive areas of our lives are next?
That's a big question. Right. We've talked about groceries, but what about replenishing our printer ink and office supplies? What about refilling our bathroom cabinets with toothpaste and shampoo before we even realize the tube is empty?
Or automatically replacing basic items of clothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dropping fresh socks and t-shirts on our porch every 3 months. How much of the daily friction of simply existing is about to be quietly taken over by invisible micro-delivery clones, just operating silently in the background, fulfilling our needs while we sleep?
It's wild to think about.
Think about that the next time you wake up, open your front door, and find exactly what you need right there on your doorstep.